Live from the Busch Light Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
And this one belongs to the Razorbacks.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
Go crazy at Bob Walker. Go nuts.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Your Razorbacks are 2021 SEC champions. And Bob Walker Stadium is an insane asylum.
I have been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Judging by the sound of it, so has everyone else.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Welcome in to a new month, a new week, and a new edition of Halftime. Drew Barrett, Matty T, Phil Elson out today, be out tomorrow, and Wednesday will rejoin us on Thursday. But Drew Barrett, Matty T going to keep you entertained for the next 2 hours on this cool Monday. And Matty, when it's 80, high of 88, and that's described as cool, only just shows you just how bad the heat was this week.
I'll take 88.
I will too. I'll take it any day of the year.
Take 88 miles per hour.
88 miles per hour? Mm-hmm. Is that what you driving down?
That's right.
Down 40, down 49, or just right out here on Zero Street on the station?
That's right.
That's right. You're just gonna say that? That's it?
I don't even need roads.
No road. Where we're going, you don't need roads. Is that it? I think I messed that up.
That's close enough.
It's close enough. Everybody gets what I was trying to say. But we got a jam-packed show planned out today. Do have a few guests. As always, on Monday, 11:30, Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. Follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Then at 12:30, there is a bunch of NBA news going on, wrapping up the NBA draft, NBA free agency, including Arkansas's own Bobby Portis. So Keith Smith, he will join us today. Keith, formerly of Yahoo Sports, now writes for CelticsBlog.com, Spotify Room, Front Office Show, and so many other places that you can find his incredible work. You can follow him on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA.
He's not with Yahoo anymore.
Not with Yahoo.
Oh,
anymore.
well, according to the graphic that you'll see when he's on, it says he's with Yahoo.
He was until like a week ago.
Yeah, so
when I told you about this.
So since then, it's changed.
Yes,
but,
yes, it
so
has
just look at
changed
his
a bit.
picture, ignore that says Yahoo.
Yes, at Keith Smith. NBA is his follow on Twitter.
It's a fast-changing world, man.
It is a fast-changing world. I mean, we had AT break some news with us last Friday that he'll no longer be writing for Kentucky Sports Radio, but still doing everything that he does with Fox Sports Radio and the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. So people change, people move, and they adapt and advance, and that's exactly what Keith Smith has done here. But got a lot of stuff to get into, and we're going to talk a lot of sports. Don't get me wrong. This is obviously a sports show. But Matty, I want to know, why does the new bridge, the Hernando de Soto Bridge, hate me?
It hates you?
Yeah, it really
didn't
does.
collapse underneath you or anything.
It did not collapse.
It got you from point A to point B, didn't it?
Well, no, because I can't go across that one.
It didn't open up?
No.
I thought it opened up in the middle of the night on Saturday, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It opened up eastbound in the middle of the night Saturday.
Okay.
Westbound opens up, I believe, sometime today or tonight. So, therefore, I was a day early going eastbound, and I'm a day late going west. So, here's and it broke, or technically, the crack in it showed up. You can find pictures from like way back in like 2014.
Oh, it had been there.
It's been there for quite a while. So, they closed the bridge May 11th. A week late, about a week or two later, I start doing the whole interview process with ESPN Arkansas and having to come across the bridge and meet all of y'all here in Fort Smith. I think I made about 3 trips total over to the River Valley and up to Northwest Arkansas. And all 3 times, it was about a week after the bridge shut down. And now, as it opens up, it still won't open up for me. And I don't get it. I've been nothing but nice to the bridge.
What's the detour like? How much does that add to you?
I think total yesterday or Friday, traffic was about an hour. Took me an hour to get across the bridge.
Yikes.
It is really bad. But other than that, I had a good weekend back in the 901, back in the hometown. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I had a pretty good laid-back weekend.
That's good. Did you stay cool? That's the real thing, because even in Memphis, it was just as hot as here, and it was such a pretty day. And I know it was probably very beautiful out here in the River Valley and throughout the natural state that I wanted to go do things, but you physically could not do it. Like, there's just so many things and so many small activities that you can do inside. And besides going to a movie theater,
which is one of my ups,
which I guess we'll get into that later on in the second hour, or go bowling, go skating. I mean, what do y'all do out there, the listening public of ESPN Arkansas? 877-377-6963. That's a text line number, and to get in contact with us right here at the station on the old-fashioned telephone, 877-377-6963. What do y'all do to stay cool? What are your favorite activities to do outside of the house? Because you can always stay inside, you use up the AC and have a relaxing day. But when it is a Saturday and you want to get out, what is your go-to thing? Is it a movie? Is it bowling? Is it skating? Is it gambling? I mean, you can always go to the casinos.
They're air-conditioned.
They are air-conditioned. So what is your favorite thing? And be sure to hit us up all day on that text line and phone line with your reactions and anything that you want to talk about from the weekend. But one big news kind of being reported, not really as heavily reported as I thought it might be today, getting the news that the Texas Senate is set to meet with Texas schools in the Big 12, including Texas, TCU, Texas Tech, and Baylor, today at 1 o'clock to ultimately determine the fate of where the three remaining Texas schools, Tech, Baylor, and TCU, will ultimately end up. And if there will be a package deal, and as some are reporting, probably be a package deal with another power conference such as the Pac-12. If you're the Pac-12 or another power conference out there, I think those are names. I mean, we talked about it last week of when the Big 12 was the Big 12. I believe we talked about it with David Cobb last Friday about how exciting and entertaining the Big 12 used to be. You know, you had that one magical year where Kansas of all teams was running college football and ultimately didn't win a national championship, but won an Orange Bowl. I mean, that's insane to think about. Kansas Jayhawks football winning an Orange Bowl. You had great Michael Crabtree teams at Texas Tech and the Pirate himself, Mike Leach. You've had good Baylor teams throughout the years. You've had good TCU teams with Gary Patterson. I thought that they were going to make a footprint in the Big 12 when they got in during the last form of realignment about 10 years ago. They've been a good program, decent, but I don't think they've really lived up to the hopes that I think they had. And if you're TCU, you're probably the odd man looking out because it's ultimately the same as last hired, first fired type of situation for TCU, who was in the Mountain West before the Big 12. They could ultimately slide back down. And if you're the Pac-12, what do you really gain out of getting those markets? TCU, Fort Worth, right outside of Dallas. That is a TV market. But are you really getting anything from Lubbock? What kind of viewership are you getting from a Texas Tech? What kind of viewership are you getting from Baylor? And when we talk realignment, it's not really about geographics anymore. Now, you would like to think that still plays a bit of a factor when you talk about just natural fits and conferences. But if you're Stanford, if you're Oregon State, Oregon, Washington State, any other team in the Pac-12 besides Arizona or Arizona State, are you really wanting to travel to Lubbock, Texas, or Fort Worth, Texas, every year or every other year to play TCU, Texas Tech? I mean, that just seems so far. I mean, absolutely so far for an Oregon State or even Oregon to have to travel and make a commitment like that to three teams that weren't even upper echelon of the dying conference of the remaining 8. But we'll get into a whole bunch more of that. NFL, NBA, all things Arkansas throughout the show. Conor O'Gara, 11:30. Keith Smith's NBA at 12:30. So don't go anywhere. Be sure to hit us up with your text. We'll get to a few of your texts on the other side. 877-377-6963. Drew Barrett, Matty T holding it down for the next 2 hours right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it. Sammy Hagar hammered out this classic hard rock tune, There's Only One Way to Rock. The Bible hammers out this hard rock truth, There's only one way to God. And this world can disagree. They don't understand how this must be. And it's not my point of view, it's a fact, and you know that it's true. There's only no way that Jesus and His disciples would willingly die for what they knew to be a lie. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it. Sammy Hagar hammered out this classic hard rock tune, There's Only One Way to Rock. The Bible hammers out this hard rock truth, There's only one way to God. And this world can disagree. They don't understand how this must be. And it's not my point of view, it's a fact, and you know that it's true. There's only no way that Jesus and His disciples would willingly die for what they knew to be a lie. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some...
know I'm gonna be the man that goes along with you. When I'm drinking, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who's drinking next to you. If I have, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who's having to you. But I wouldn't walk 500.
Here's the 0-1. And there it goes to deep right center field. Back to the wall is Rishik. Bubba asks. Bubba gets. Grand slam. 26-1. Goodhart hits his second home run of the game.
Need a little bit more halftime in your life? Make sure to download the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. Eastside Liquor in Fort Smith has the best deals in the River Valley on liquor, beer, and wine. Stop by 9390 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith and make sure to check out their Facebook page for weekly specials. The Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast is part of the Hit That Line Podcast Network and is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to halftime on this glorious, lovely August day here in the natural state. First show of the week, first show of the month. Drew Barrett, Matty T, Phil Elson still out dude ranching with his son and father. Hopefully he hasn't died yet because I haven't gotten a call. Do you think we would?
If
how
he
high
died,
on the list?
he wouldn't be able to call you if he died.
Well, he wouldn't be able to call us, but I feel like we would get a notification at least.
Who would call it? Nah,
So
we're way down the aisle.
Would we at least get an email?
I feel like we'd find out like on the news.
Oh, I'd hate for that to happen.
Voice of Razorback baseball and
women's basketball. Phil Elson dies in tragic roping accident. Somehow roped himself, and I don't even know where the rest of that story is going to go.
He got the lasso wrapped around his ankle and it
took his feet out.
Yep.
Hit his head on a rock or something. I don't know. Hopefully that's not happening though. These are all jokes. Hopefully Phil returns to us safe and sound on Thursday.
His horse saw a snake and it got spooked and
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I'm not a big fan of horseback riding. Like I think I went a little too far last week where I said I don't like horses. I don't mind horses.
You don't like horses? You don't like dogs?
Maddie, I like dogs. I'm just not
You just don't lose your mind over
I don't, exactly. I can walk into a room and be a normal human being and go, that's a dog. Sup, dog? Dog comes over, pet, pet, pet. All right, dog, go to the next person. You know, me and dogs, we're cool, but I'm not gonna go.
You're not giving it a big wet kiss on its snout.
No, I'm not going that far. And when it comes to horses, I don't mind horses. They just freak me out because they look me dead in the eyes, and that's just something about that. And they get spooked. And when you're on its back, what are you really going to do to control it or keep it from getting spooked? Like,
I mean, there's been big tough guys that have been paralyzed by being kicked off of horses. You remember Superman? Well, you don't remember.
I don't remember, but I've heard this.
Reeve,
I've heard of it. Yes, he got hurt horseback riding. So
I guess I'm kind of even. We were talking about skateboarding last week. Same way, a horse could get spooked by a snake. A skateboard, you could hit a rock and flip over the front of it.
Just go straight forward.
And there's rocks everywhere.
There are rocks everywhere. I couldn't skateboard. I never could. I always pretended that I wanted to be like a BMX biker around my older brother and all of his friends who got big into skateboarding when they were like in elementary school. And that was a complete lie. I just couldn't skate. I didn't have the balance for it.
I wanted a reason to dress like a skater. I wanted to wear Airwalk shoes.
Yeah. Vans. You were big into Vans. Mm-hmm. I remember
But if you wore those clothes and you couldn't skate, you were a poser.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a poser, Maddie. Nobody wants to be friends with a poser. 877-377-6963. Best ways, your favorite ways to be entertained, keep cool on a hot weekend day like we had over Saturday. So far, I feel bad. Ryan in Prairie Grove says, work, then work again, I reckon. Man, Ryan, it's Saturday, bro.
You work 7 days a week?
I mean, I've done it before. I mean, there's been plenty of stretches throughout, especially in the radio biz where
we got football and then we got basketball, baseball.
Especially coming from a station that didn't have automation and commercials that would play by themselves.
Is it that hard to get it automated?
Apparently. Apparently for some radio companies it was, and you work and have just basically sit there throughout the game for 5 spots. You have 1 spot each quarter, 2 during halftime, 2 pregame, and 2 postgame. So what is that? 10 spots, 5.5 hours down the drain. just sitting there.
Time you'll never get back.
I mean, I've done it, and I get it. You know, sometimes you just got to work, and that's what you got to do, and that's apparently what Ryan in Perry Grove has to do. BE says he enjoys sitting in the shade underneath his
under my gigantic maple tree.
I couldn't read there for a second. Gigantic maple tree to avoid the heat.
That sounds awful.
It works. I mean, it's cooler in the shade.
Cooler or just not as hot?
I guess it's not as hot.
When it's 100 degrees outside, even
it's
in the
still
shade
hot.
of a tree, I'd still rather be inside.
I think I would be too. So like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like me and the missus back in Memphis, it was Saturday.
Oh, you got engaged this weekend?
No. You know I call her the missus, the young ball and chain, all the other words. Instead of just saying me and my girlfriend, you know, because that just sounds whiny and weird.
Me and my chick.
Me and my lady. Is that better?
Me and my lady.
Me and my lady. We're together on Saturday, and I was wanting to do stuff, so we just went to a restaurant, Young Ave in Midtown in Cooper Young District, and I looked at her. I was like, man, it's such a beautiful day out. Like today is a day that you have to be doing stuff, and we looked at each other and went, well, besides going to another bar or restaurant, what are we really going to do?
Besides just consuming alcohol and eating more food.
I mean, I love consuming alcohol. Don't get me wrong. It's probably one of my favorite activities. But it's not a great thing just to continue to do.
You need something else to do.
You need something else to do. Like if it would have been just me and the buddies, we would have gone brewery hopping because they do have board games and stuff like that. That'd have been great. But the lady isn't a big beer person, and not too many of them have seltzers yet. Some of them are starting to get into the seltzer game, and because that's the new crave.
I've seen her drink a margarita before.
She does drink margaritas, but then again, Maddie, we're at breweries.
Breweries don't
make margaritas.
They need to have margaritas everywhere.
I'll be sure to make a call to the craft brewery organization.
Call me when you get margaritas.
So, man, what was I about to get to? Let me look at my rundown here real quick. Oh, yes, NFL. Get back onto sports here before we have to take a break and go to Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. The NFL is in full swing. We've been about over a week now into training camp, and some pretty bad news, especially on the injury front. Eagles first rounder Devontae Smith is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with a sprained MCL. According to sources, Smith underwent an MRI on Sunday that revealed the injury. And, I mean, just talk about a broken record. You see the same thing year in and year out. Carson Wentz of the Indianapolis Colts is out indefinitely. Now, don't think that it's season-ending, but when the organization itself uses indefinitely, that means there is absolutely no timeline. It could be 3 weeks. It could be 3 months. So who knows what's going to happen there. Jacob Eason, which most of y'all remember from Georgia, the second-year NFL quarterback, is taking the first-team snaps at this moment. But with Carson Wentz was supposed to be that guy. I mean, they gave up a lot to get him from the Eagles when the Eagles decided that they were going to go with Jalen Hurts and he's going to be their guy going forward. They went all in on Carson Wentz, just like they went all in last year on getting the last year out of Phillip Rivers, which I believe it went into they did make the playoffs. It translated into a playoff run, and you thought that with all the returning talent that they have on the offense and the defensive side of the ball this year, that a healthy Carson Wentz could be able to get the job done. But the problem with Carson Wentz is staying healthy. You know, the old saying, you've probably heard it 1,000 times when people are talking about Carson Wentz, your greatest ability is availability, or availability is the best ability. So just staying healthy has been such a big problem for Carson Wentz, and hopefully Jacob Eason. I don't know why I want to keep saying Jacoby because I wanted to keep saying Jacoby Brissett, the former Colts quarterback, but Jacob Eason hopefully can manage it and somehow get it done for a few weeks. And Maddie, I'm going to come back to this story later. So we'll probably talk about this at the end of the hour or an hour two, because we do have Connor O'Gara coming up. Odell Beckham Jr., you know who he is, right? Mm-hmm. Wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He spent $1.8 million on something recently. What do you think it was?
A video game.
No.
Is it something less or more stupid than that?
I mean, it's a good investment, but not really at the part of it isn't.
Anything to do with jewelry?
Yes.
Okay. Something involving his mouth?
Yes.
Is it really a grill?
No.
Okay.
He got new teeth, but got diamonds in his teeth, but put them in the back. So hold your opinion. I want to get to it later in the show because we do have to take the break here. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South joins us next. Don't go anywhere. ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Now, Connor, how is it where you are? Because it's been pretty hot throughout most of the South this week. Were you able to survive?
Yeah, believe it or not, Central Florida in August, late July, gets a little toasty.
Yeah.
It is, we're approaching heat index into the triple digits on a daily basis. A little bit balmy,
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but, this just comes with the territory. This is my, 7th August here, so I just, I expect the rain to come at 4 o'clock every single day at monsoons, and then it just gets ridiculously humid, and then we just move on with life.
See, that's the thing. When you finally get used to the weather, or at least move there, and you've been there for quite a long time, you really can't complain because it is what it is, and if you didn't like it, you could always just pack up and move. But one thing going on around the SEC is fall practice is scheduled to start for all SEC teams this week. What are some big things that you're looking at throughout the first week of practice when it really starts getting ramped up?
There are a lot of things besides just your basic position battles that we're going to talk about. And it seems like in the SEC, there are just so many interesting quarterback battles. And as I've been saying, there are 10 SEC programs that either have a new starting quarterback or a new offensive coordinator. And one of those schools is, Mississippi State is one of the 4 schools that theoretically doesn't have a new starting quarterback or a new offensive coordinator, but Will Rogers isn't exactly entrenched as the starter just yet, so we'll wait to see how that plays out. But that's really the big thing that you could look at in the SEC specifically. But what I want to see in what I think pertains to 2021 is this new era of the transfer portal, wherein undergrads have the one-time exemption to be able to transfer and do so within the conference now and not lose a year of eligibility. How many of these guys lose battles in fall camp and take advantage of it? More so than ever, I think we could see guys enter fall camp on one team and then finish it on another. And I don't know if that's going to happen at the quarterback position. I don't know if that's going to happen maybe if you're, second or third string tailback and you want to go find somewhere else where you could play. I don't know. But I feel like it's going to happen. So I'm looking for stuff like that to be able to kind of dictate, some of the more newsy things that happen. And I think a lot of teams are going to be really secretive with their quarterback battles as a result, because head coaches are aware of this and they know that it's never been easier to transfer if you're a college athlete. So I think that's going to have my attention. It's not going to surprise me if we see some surprising moves at the last minute in the SEC.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to go to next anyways, because of the craziness that it is with the transfer rule. And, you now have super seniors, and it's obviously become commonplace in today's college athletics. That how much do you think other coaches are going to be concentrating on reports on depth charts, I guess, more than they would before, knowing that they can get a guy in? And do you have maybe a certain few guys that you think could be prime examples of guys that would transfer midway through fall camp and end up at another school?
Yeah, I think if you're a head coach and if you're not keeping tabs on that, you're doing it wrong. And there was a lot made before the entire college football landscape got kind of thrown out of whack with 12-team playoff and NIL and realignment and all these things, that coaches were frustrated with tampering. And that was a real issue that was going on. ESPN, I know, did a big piece on that, wherein college football coaches were very frustrated that they thought coaches throughout the country were reaching out to players who weren't in the transfer portal yet, and they were trying to get them to come to their respective schools. I know a lot of Arkansas fans were upset about that with the Mike Woods developments with him going to Oklahoma. But the guy that I keep thinking about, and I'm not selling my stock on this player, but if there is a guy who would make sense, it would be Miles Brennan, the LSU starting quarterback from a year ago, who I don't want to say that he lost his job to Max Johnson because of injury, but there's been a lot of speculation that Max Johnson, the son of former NFL quarterback Brad Johnson, is going to be the guy in Baton Rouge. And if that does indeed happen, Miles Brennan would start at a lot of places. He is an outstanding quarterback who could play and go to a lot of different systems and succeed. And I think that if you are trying to speculate who could go where, man, there are a lot of programs, and I don't know if Arkansas necessarily falls into this camp because I think they like what they see in KJ Jefferson after the way he developed in spring, but Miles Brennan could really go to a lot of places and play. And it'll be fascinating to see if that situation comes up, or maybe he'll win the starting job and he'll have a lot of success at LSU this year. But a guy like that who's experienced and really wouldn't have to take that significant amount of time to learn a system would be a prime candidate to take advantage of this.
And where I agree with you, I think Miles Brennan would be able to start, but it just and I know it's only been 1 year, since Joe Burrow, and obviously it's hard to compare anybody to the season that he's had. LSU, that quarterback room hasn't been very stable. They've had some guys come in, come out. I mean, just off the top of my head, obviously a guy who transferred to Memphis, Peter Parrish, who's not even going to be starting for the University of Memphis because of Arizona transfer, and Grant Gunnell will ultimately win that starting job. So where would a good fit, a good landing spot, do you think would be for Brennan?
Well, I mean, I think LSU's offense was just fine last year, and I thought, to be honest, the passing game itself was perfectly fine. They hit a midseason low with T.J. Finley as the starter. T.J. Finley now at Auburn, but I thought for the most part they did some really good things in the passing game. Their running game was the most un-LSU-like that they've had in the 21st century since they've been a nationally relevant program. But Miles Brennan, if he were to lose that starting job, the situation that I would look at, there are two places that come to mind immediately, one in conference, one out of conference. The in-conference one is Mississippi State. Now, Mike Leach is going to the beat of his own drum, that much we know. He has two options there in Will Rogers and Jack Abraham. Jack Abraham coming from Southern Miss as a grad transfer and trying to win that starting job. Could Miles Brennan be better than both of those guys? Yeah, absolutely. But whether or not Mike Leach would want to take a chance on the Mississippi native to come back to his home state, I don't know. But the other place that I think would be fascinating is Penn State, because Penn State has Sean Clifford, but they really have struggled with depth, and they've lost quarterback after quarterback to the transfer portal this offseason, including Will Levis to Kentucky. So could he go to a place like Penn State that has a roster that is built to win now, is built to compete for a Big Ten championship, and potentially have some success there? I wouldn't rule it out. He's going to go where he's needed, and if there's a market for him, and this is all extremely hypothetical because for all I know, he's going to win the starting job, but I think that would be a fascinating thing to look at.
Yeah, that would be a great spot. I think he would be a perfect fit in Coach Franklin's offense up there, and they need somebody who can make plays like Miles Brennan has shown us did show us last year before getting hurt. Now, one thing that has been interesting to me, and I think to a lot of people, is what is the NCAA going to look like in the future? I mean, Mark Emmert basically coming out saying, we don't know what we're doing, might as well just let the conferences and schools take all the responsibility. We'll scale back our role and our presence in college athletics. You've had Greg Sankey come out and basically say that he would love that. He'd love to have more control over universities and college football and what they do. So when it's all said and done, what do you think the NCAA's role is going to be going forward?
Well, I don't know that it's that much different than what it currently is in college football, because in college football, it's just not that significant. Yeah. And that's what the last year has really shown us. And when you see these Power 5 conferences going rogue and deciding their own scheduling formats for a COVID season, you realize, the NCAA really doesn't control this whole deal, and it doesn't control the college football playoff. NCAA controls the NCAA tournament, which is a massive revenue-generating opportunity each and every year. But for college football, you're still going to need a governing body to be able to come up with some rules. That's the biggest thing, is that, you can say this conference can go by this conference can go by that. You're still going to need some overarching governing body to enforce certain rules. Now, enforcing them in the same way that the NCAA did, where it seems like they'll go after a program like Mizzou for self-reporting a violation involving a tutor. Meanwhile, they won't drop the hammer on UNC for making fake classes. I think that we'll see a difference in that. But in terms of its active role right now, I just don't think it's that significant. And I don't think it'll be that significant, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And you just kind of realize that people like Greg Sankey have a whole lot more power than Mark Emmert in the NCAA.
And with the SEC, obviously being finalized last Friday, as both Texas and OU officially accept the invitation that they begged for to get into the SEC. Is the SEC done? Are we done at 16? Do we go to 18? And I'll also get your opinion on where do you think Notre Dame really fits in to the new landscape of college football that seems to be on the horizon that we're about to be in?
Well, I think the SEC stands pat at 16 for a little bit at least. They haven't typically, their moves in the past haven't suggested that they're going to expand beyond that right just yet, because they want to see the way that it impacts the college football playoff. They want to see what the revenue share looks like and all these different things. So before they expand into what many people are calling a super conference, that I think they stand pat with Texas and Oklahoma. But, I think the Irish are in position to stay where they are. And recent history, despite the fact that the TV boom is immense, they've been able to stay as an independent because they have that TV contract and they have that big deal with NBC, and they get those ACC games as well. So they get to kind of build their schedule that sort of way. So they're really not missing out on a ton. Now, if we're talking about the conference championship being an automatic qualifier, essentially moving forward with the college football playoff, then that changes things a little bit, but does it really? Because, maybe the Irish can't get one of those top 4 seeds, but I still look at what they have and say, well, they can have a home playoff game in the quarterfinal and benefit a ton from that, and you could potentially beat a top 12 team in South Bend, and the benefits for the Irish would be immense as opposed to just losing to Alabama or Clemson in the first round of the college football playoff. So I think Notre Dame stands pat, and I don't think they joined the Big Ten because the Big Ten's not aggressive enough. Maybe if Greg Sankey were running the Big Ten, that'd be a different story, but he's not, and instead it's Kevin Warren. So I think that Notre Dame stays independent and, just kind of flirts with the ACC, but ultimately they're going to do their own thing.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where Notre Dame ultimately, how it all does play out for them, especially if we decided to get to a 64 type of team, or type of league with 4 power conferences, and ultimately they might have to join at that point. But we're talking with Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. Connor, before we let you go, have we already gotten kind of bored, or maybe not bored, but already used to NIL through 1 month?
Yes and no. Like when it comes out that a certain player has a Raising Cane's deal, I still get really fired up. I mean, that still to me is like, wow, what a prime opportunity. I just think about eating chicken fingers every day for the rest of my life. Yeah. But I might be in the minority with that. I think what we're waiting to see is how this is impacted during the season. How is it going to really impact when there's somebody making a Heisman push, and then let's say they come out with a big national commercial? Like, what happens if Spencer Rattler gets a big national shoe deal while he's in the midst of competing for a Heisman Trophy, or, all of a sudden you're seeing Sam Howell on Air Jordan commercials because he's at UNC. Like, what's that going to look like is the next piece of this. I don't know that we're so much bored with it. Maybe we're a little bit used to it. We're seeing, we're seeing these announcements come out. It's not a crazy, ridiculous amount, and it's not necessarily impacting the game just yet, but what's it going to look like when that happens later on? And then what's it going to look like if there are coaches who are frustrated with players who maybe are spending too much time on that? I think that's a storyline that's worth keeping in mind. So it'll change, I think, just once the games start.
Yeah, I think you're right. It will change once we possibly hear a story of a guy trying to do a commercial like that. If we do end up getting a big deal like that during the season, if he had to leave practice early or something to do that, it would be kind of strange and different. But Connor, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week, kind of break down everything that we've seen through the first week of practice. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks. That is Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Hardee's. Do you want to win a football trip of a lifetime? Join us Tuesday, August 3rd at Hardee's, 4123 Grand Avenue, and Thursday, August 5th at 1820 Phoenix Avenue for our next lunch qualifier for the 16th annual Thick Burger Eating Contest. And you can join us, me and Phil, Friday, August 6th, as we do our show in Springdale at Hardee's at 401 South Thomas Street. Just got to eat a 3rd-pound Angus Thick Burger in 90 seconds to qualify for your chance for Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys tickets at Era Arrowhead Stadium, November 29th. Secure your seat at the table for the 16th annual football trip of a lifetime, August 21st, brought to you by Hardee's. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Riley.
Battles to his left. He throws from behind second in time. One out in the Florida eighth inning.
Phil, you know what? We're really good.
He's not the best color analyst in college baseball for nothing, folks.
Find us on 99.5 and 1290 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
Welcome back to halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Last segment of hour number 1. Drew Barrett, Matty T, here with you for the next hour and 10 minutes. Phil Elson still out at the Dude Ranch, roping and riding with his son and father. Hopefully he will rejoin us when he's scheduled to on Thursday. We do have some text to read about best things to do when it's extremely hot like it was this weekend. W in Wicks, the only real answer is to actually be outside and cool is going to the river, correct? I'd say yes. Another person from 479, we take the side-by-side to the creek with some cold beer. That's always sounds great. A little creek swimming and some cold beer. I don't think you can beat it. Another person from the 479, best thing to do around here is find some water. So the consensus has been to get on a boat and just lay in the water and do some floating and just stay cool that way, which I do enjoy. I do love a good lake day and a good river day. You know, I used to go to the Tennessee River with my buddy whose uncle lives in Camden, Tennessee, right there on the Tennessee River, and we go out in his pontoon and have a good old time, and are out at Pickwick, right there in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's always a great place to go. So I need to find somebody with a boat out here. Matty, do you have a boat?
I don't have a boat, and
Can you buy a boat for me? Because I can't afford a boat.
I don't even have the money to do that.
But I need you to buy the boat.
You could just go out here to this water park over here, Parrot Island or whatever it's called. Just sit out there.
Okay.
They got water there.
They got water. They do.
Unless you're grossed out by being in places where there's a lot of other people in the same water spitting and doing whatever else they're doing in it.
I just try not to think about it. That's how I kind of handle those situations, is trying basically not to think about it. Before we get out of here on hour 1, do want to talk a little Olympics, as there are some news going on. Simone Biles announced earlier today that she will be competing in the individual beam tomorrow morning. And if you want to watch that, well, all you got to do is wake up at 3:50 a.m. That's when that competition will be taking place, probably wrapping up about an hour later. The U.S. women's basketball team, they beat France 93-82. Xander Schauffele, a U.S.-born golfer, has won gold for the United States in men's golf. And it's some not so good news that we're going to get into in three up, three down next segment. Obviously, the United States women's national team, they fell earlier today in the semis to Canada 1-0. Now the only thing they can do is win a bronze if they still want a medal. But for our medal count, thus far, USA still holding strong for the total medal count at 64. China right on their heels at 62. The ROC is at 50. China does lead in overall golds, 29 to the United States, 22. United States leads in silver with 25 and 17. They're tied with the ROC in bronze at 17. And one thing that I put on this rundown here, Matty, that I wanted to discuss, and is the fact that the Russians are in the Olympics and that they were in the Sochi Olympics during the Winter Olympics last time, 2 years back in 2018. I think that time they weren't under the ROC. They were under the Olympic athletes from Russia in the 2018 Winter Olympics. So should they be allowed to participate? After all the doping scandals and after everything that they've done and have ultimately cheated the sport and cheated the I guess sanctity and purity of the Olympic Games, even though the IOC is probably one of the most corrupt organizations, not just in sports but in the entire world, as time and time again has shown us that. So should Russia be allowed to compete after all the doping scandals, and now you have some, especially some Olympic swimmers. Lily King, she implied earlier this week that Russia shouldn't be here at the Olympics because of the doping. You've had some other swimmers coming out saying, I know there's a problem with swimming and doping. Do I think everybody that participated today was clean? No, obviously not. And they seem to be having a problem. And it's more when they lose, right? Mm-hmm. You don't hear a lot of people complaining about doping when they beat somebody from the ROC or when they blow them out of the water. It only happens when they lose, and that could be because they're doping, because there's performance enhancement drugs used by the Russians, or it could be you just lost.
It's like
it only happen. You only complain about something when it goes against you.
It's like I always say. Up with hope and down with dope.
Love it. I was waiting. Nice dramatic pause there. But that is something to be interesting. We might get back into that later. Don't go anywhere. 3 up, 3 down. Coming up next.
Have you ever been to River City Bistro for a brunch on the weekends? Every Saturday and Sunday, River City is open at 10 a.m. with a special brunch menu. Eggs and omelets any way you like. Premium bacon, sausage and ham, waffles, eggs Benedict, and a great drink menu featuring mimosas, Bloody Marys, and all your brunch favorites. We will see you for brunch every Saturday and Sunday starting at 10 a.m. at River City Bistro, 7320 Rogers Avenue in the Stonewood Village Shopping Center.
Why do I run? Is it because I'm driven? Because I love the challenge? God, no. I do it for the beer. If you're the kind of runner who does it for the beer, this summer you can get one on us with the Michelob Ultra Beer Run. Grab your run buddies and get out there, because this summer there's beer at the finish line. Sign up at ultrabeerrun.com and trade your miles for beer.
What matters most to your family can now cost less when you choose comfortable, reliable, and efficient natural gas heating, water heating, cooking, and clothes drying for your home. You make the right choice in today's environment. High-efficiency natural gas appliances can reduce your monthly costs. And right now, you can save even more with heating and water heating rebates from AOG. Visit AOGC.com today and get more comfort for less cost.
Do you want to work for a trucking company with state-of-the-art technology? A trucking company that will give you the tools to do your job and make a great living and come home safe? Of course you do. That company you want to work for is Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry. Brent and Connie Higgins genuinely care about your future and your family. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them today at 479-997-2366 or apply online at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
If you think nothing good happens after dark, you clearly never brought the crew to B-Dubs. Our new half-off late-night food will make you wish it were nocturnal. Every night starting at 9 p.m., get 50% off Ultimate Nachos, chips and salsa, plus crispy buffalo chicken tots or Dirty Dubs tots. So don't sleep on our late-night food and $3 Tall House beer. Grab the crew and get the Buffalo Wild Wings for late night. Valid 7/12 through 8/31 at participating locations starting at 9 p.m. till close for dine-in only. 50% off only available on select items. Add-ons cost extra. Excludes other offers. Excludes tax and alcohol. Please drink responsibly.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, a generous helping of sunshine. We could see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms across the south. High temperatures today in the low to mid 80s. Tonight, mainly clear and overnight low near 65. Tomorrow, sunny skies, low to mid 80s. And Wednesday, back to sunshine, or high in the middle 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3. Live from the Bushlight Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
And this one belongs to the Razorbacks.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
Go
crazy at Bob Walker. Go nuts.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Your Razorbacks are 2021 SEC champions, and Baum-Walker Stadium is an insane asylum.
I have been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Judging by the sound of it, so has everyone else.
Hey, hold on, it's almost halftime.
Welcome back in hour number 2 of halftime here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Drew Barrett, Matty T in with you for another hour on this beautiful Monday in the River Valley and across the entire natural state. This hour is brought to you by Pratco Outdoor Lures. It is summertime in Arkansas, and that means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bases in ponds like the Rebel Creek Hopper. You can twist it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Creek Hopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels or a 6-pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shop Academy, LureNet.com, or tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Cricket Hopper from Pratco Outdoor Lures. All right, Maddie. Like we do every Monday, let's get to 3 up, 3 down.
It's like a calling card or a shout out or something.
That sucked.
The best of the best of the best of the best of the best.
What does 3 up and 3 down mean to you, Airman?
End of an inning.
Well, that's not the worst part.
What is the worst part?
It's time for 3 up, 3 down.
All right, Maddie, you want to go first?
I'll go first. My first up is you're saying, what are some things to do? I mean, it's so hot out here.
It is so hot.
Well, one thing I noticed is that the movie theater here, or at least one of them, the AMC, has really cold air conditioning. So should I call her I'm not going to call her the ball and chain. My girlfriend.
You can call her whatever you want.
My girlfriend, who I've yet to propose to, went to the movie with me to see Jungle Cruise.
Yeah?
And it was cold enough that she had to bring her blanket in there.
That's always a good sign when you see somebody else walking in with a blanket. You're like, oh, yeah.
And the good news, too,
be
is
nice.
it makes it easier to sneak in your own drinks and stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, so... It was a good. I thought it was a good. You watched Jungle Cruise over the weekend.
I
too.
did. I did watch it. So we used the girlfriend or the Mrs. Young Ball and Chain's sister's Disney Plus account, and she buys all the premiere movies when they come out and lets us all watch them.
She's got it like that.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing pretty well for herself. She's down in Tampa. She's an engineer. She's making a lot of money where she can afford the $20 per premiere access on the Disney Plus. So she lets us log into hers and watch them. And I thought it was good. And maybe I'm different. I love corny dad jokes. I absolutely love it. And for my girlfriend who's been to Disney World, I believe 15 times and done the Jungle Cruise.
That's the way the Jungle Cruise is. And
that's the way she told me. She said a lot of the jokes were the jokes you actually hear.
The backside of the waterfall is one of the jokes.
I laughed so hard the first time I heard that.
That's an actual Jungle Cruise joke.
And that's what she told me. She told me that, they do that. And she says if one of the tour guides or the skippers, as they call them, doesn't do it, that people get mad if they don't do the eighth wonder of the world, the backside of water. I thought it was a good movie. I thought Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt were pretty good. Jack Whitehall, the English comedian, was in it. He's pretty good.
Now, he's not the guy that was on Breaking Bad, is he?
No.
Okay.
No. This is Jack Whitehall. He's an English stand-up comedian. I think he's got a show on Netflix, traveling with his dad. And his dad's pretty hilarious about not wanting to actually do anything on these travels and stuff like that. And if you ever get a chance, Jack Whitehall, I mean, his stand-up is very good. So I thought he was good in the movie.
Okay, because his character, Disney's pretty forward-thinking with some of this stuff. Because his character, they acknowledge that he wasn't interested in
women.
In women, basically. And I was like,
sorry to ruin the movie.
Sorry,
I don't think that's really a spoiler there.
Yeah. Kind of,
It doesn't really mess with the entire plot line or ruin anything for you.
I had no idea he was a comedian stuff. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what my big up was for. Biggie up to the AMC theater for having really cold air conditioning in. Also, Jungle Cruise was pretty good.
I was about to say, out of 10, what would you give it?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5? That's pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I wondered if it would have been as good watching it outside of a theater because it was part of the theater experience.
Yeah, see,
and there was a lot of people in there, too.
I still have not been back to a theater since COVID and everything. It's not, and I'm double vaxxed. It's not because I'm just concerned about that, but the reason all the movies that I would want to go see, I can get for free.
Dude, even I went and saw A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks later. It was available on Paramount Plus. So even then, you could pay $5 and just watch it at.
Exactly, and like,
and you saw what they did. Now Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney because she, like, her salary for the movie or profit was going to come from ticket sales at the box office, and they like after a week they put it on Disney Plus just like that. So she's suing them now.
Oh, I would
trying to get
Oh, I for sure would. I mean, especially that was going to be one of the big draws of the summer, especially if it would have just been in theaters. And it's hard to make myself. And I know movie theaters aren't that expensive, but it's just hard to make myself go and pay, what, $8 now? It costs $8 to go see a movie plus an extra $200 for popcorn and a drink.
That's where they really.
That's where they get you. And I just haven't been able to do it and really pull the trigger. My first up is I'm going to give an up to the United States men's national team on the pitch last night. Stayed up till about 10:30 to watch them win the Gold Cup 1-0 over Mexico. And I mean, this is obviously a huge momentum swing, a huge win for the United States men's national team. Basically a bunch of 19, and they talked about it throughout the entire broadcast of how young this national team is. I think average age was like 21 years of age on this national team, going up against a much more veteran and experienced Mexico team. And now the U.S. has swept Mexico throughout the summer. So a good win for them. First down, going to go to the women's national soccer team, unfortunately, as they have failed to make the gold medal round in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics after losing 1-0 or 1-0, as you soccer people like to say, to Canada, now only able to win the bronze. And it's been a disappointing, a little bit of a disappointing Olympics for sports that you feel that we not only should dominate, but have dominated in Olympic past. Now, I know Miss Lee made up for it in the individual all-around gymnastics, but for not to win the team all-around gymnastics felt off. It felt weird. And throughout this whole Olympics with the women's national team on the pitch, it felt like they were due to lose. You lose your first round to the Netherlands, to Sweden. You lose to Sweden. Then you come back, you have a good game, win 3-0, and then you have to go to PKs against the Netherlands, get very lucky. I mean, goaltender Hewer, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I don't have her name right in front of me, so if I mispronounce that, that's on me. Make unbelievable save after save to get there, and you just knew that the clock was ticking. And the clock has struck midnight on the women's national team. Still has a chance to win bronze, though. I mean, medal is a medal, but when you're used to gold, it's not the same. Maddie, what's your down?
My first down is Friday evening. My girlfriend asked me to go step outside to the storage room to get a little pizza oven and cook a frozen pizza.
Yeah.
I get into it. I turn around and I notice there are wasps coming in, and I guess they weren't in there. I didn't know where. I figured out later on where they were, but I was like, oh no. And I start to move my way up. They both start going for my ankles. So I know I got stung at least 5 times. I don't know how many. I know one wasp came at me more than once. It stung me.
I'm sure it did.
It came back.
I hate wasps.
It'd been a long time since I'd been stung by wasp, and besides the pain, there was the initial worry of, am I going to have some kind of allergic reaction? Am I about to have to go to the emergency room?
Are you allergic to wasps?
I found out I'm not.
Okay,
but I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother, I can't remember if it was bees or wasps, but she got stung, and we had to take. She got all swollen up and had to go to the emergency room. So there was this buffer period of 15 minutes where I'm looking at it, all right, how bad is this going to get? My girl gets me eyes. She's Googling what do you do with wasp stings? And so anyways, it ended up being okay after about 20 minutes.
I'm glad you're okay.
I was fine, but screw wasps.
I hate
you get
wasps.
a big down from me. And the thing about wasps, it's at least bees make honey. What do wasps do?
Just be the ultimate insect jerks.
And they're violent.
They are violent.
So what I found is
you can just be walking near one, and it's just hey, Hey, what you doing?
I had no interest in
exactly.
what any of those wasps
Most
were
bees
doing.
will at least leave you alone unless you antagonize
I don't care
them.
if you're on my property, if you're building stuff in we got to hurry this along a little bit, but that's my big down. And it turns out it's like in between the doors, like it's separating a little bit, and they got in there somehow. So it was like, I guess when I opened the door, it stirred them all up. So by the time I got in there and turned around, I was trapped in the closet.
Oh, I'm sorry there, Maddie. I'll be quick with my my next up and down. Gonna give a huge up, and I know that she listens to the show, so that's why I want to do it, and because I feel guilty because I forgot to call her yesterday. Give a huge up to my Aunt Sharon, who celebrated her 70th birthday yesterday. Got to see them, and her sister, my Aunt Phyllis, celebrated her birthday the day before. I believe 65. I'm probably wrong on that one, but they both celebrated birthdays, and I wanted to give them an up because I'm sorry I forgot to call you yesterday. I got to driving and just spaced out. So big up to my aunts for celebrating some milestone birthdays. Big down. Talked about it through most of the show. The heat that it has ravaged not just the natural state, but through all of the South. Just goodness gracious, just nothing unless you got a boat. And unfortunately, I don't make boat money yet. I'm not Tommy. I don't make the big bucks just yet. And I don't make the bucks that the brand does either, who's noticeably out this week. So until I get there, I guess I'm gonna have to go rent a canoe. I think somebody said, Dennis in Van Buren says I can rent a canoe and float the Buffalo River.
Sure you can.
That seems pretty fun. I do like to kayak. I have a good lawyer buddy, who owns about 3 or 4 kayaks and go out back in Memphis down the Wolf River. So that's always fun. But gonna need something to do to beat the heat next time, because I know that was the first wave, which means there's another one coming. It's not gonna be a mild August. It's too mild all summer. What is your next 3 up, 3 down?
My next up is when you got your dog in the car and like you pull into a place, and places that keep treats for the dog. And I was surprised it happened the other day. This weekend, pulled into Walgreens to pick up a prescription, and they had dog bones at the Walgreens pharmacy. So it's I know our podcast sponsor, Eastside Liquor, they keep dog treats by the way.
I noticed that. I was in there the other week, and I noticed that the because I'm not 100%. I'm not used to the drive-ins, right? Like I'm still coming from Tennessee, where you have to just walk into a liquor store and grab your own stuff.
You got to get out of your car.
I know. I'm just so used to just pulling up and then I get in and I look out. I look to my left there at Eastside Liquor, and I see the car, and I'm like, oh, well, I get the same thing every time. I could have just done that. So I mean, it's great convenience. I just need to do that. But I do also I also do love looking at all the new and great liquors that they have in there, and all the big selection.
My third up is Eastside Liquor and their Bud Light slushes.
Ooh.
See, when drove by and I saw on their sign it said Bud Light and then slushies next to it. They were in 2 different colors though, so I'm like, that can't be the same thing. And I went in there, and so it's like kind of like these frozen cocktail drinks. And so my girlfriend's real hard to please when it comes to buying any kind of alcohol. So when I find something that she actually likes, you jump on it. And so at Eastside Liquor, they had these Bud Light slushes. They're frozen, and you just kind of run them under water, squish them up a little bit, put them in a glass. And so that was my third up.
Have you done your third down? Go ahead and finish it out.
I actually have two downs.
Go ahead, finish out.
The other one, Wasp. I got rid of this other down because I figured it was going to be too controversial about this rapper that was. Anyways, fleas.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with fleas?
Yes, actually, and it's not because there was a dog in our apartment. A girl that I was seeing in college had a dog.
She brought him in. Oh,
and dog never stepped foot in my house. But
they jumped.
The fleas got into her bag, and the bag made it to my house, and then the fleas made it to my house.
And then it can be, as you remember, is a nightmare to get rid of them. You got
to
vacuum. You have to go. So this wasn't actually this past weekend. It was weekend.
My roommates hated
weekend
me.
Before last. We saw a couple of them on my dog. So immediately my day was then stripping everything, the bed sheets, anything on the floor, vacuuming, and so it becomes an all-day ordeal trying to. And so we haven't had any since then, but I'd remind people this is the season when they're bad now. So if you're taking your dog out, keep mad. And then my third down, people who park in handicap spots when they aren't supposed to.
Ugh.
There's a Dollar General right around the corner.
I hate that.
Every time I go over there, there's some car that doesn't have a sticker on it, and a perfectly capable person is parking there and taking up the one handicap spot. And
that could be a get off my lawn for me.
And just imagine if you were in a situation where you needed that parking spot, and then you've got some guy not only parked in it but parked crooked, taking up
that's the worst.
the whole
and they always justify, well, I was just running in real quick. It doesn't matter, man.
I've had a confrontation. It's been about 5 years, but I confronted a woman at a Subway in Jacksonville, Arkansas, and she said that to me. I yelled at a woman one time for parking, and I try not to confront people like that anymore. But that's
sometimes
one of my big pet peeves.
Sometimes people deserve it. I know we're up against the break, but my last up to Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Chris Bryant for hitting a home run in their new team's debut after they were traded from the Cubs. I thought that was some, maybe not irony, poetic justice, but just showing that they still have stuff in the tank and that maybe the Cubs should have held on a little bit longer. And a down, already talked about it a little bit at the opening of the show, to the new bridge, a.k.a. the Hernando de Soto Bridge on I-40 between West Memphis and Memphis for not being ready in time for my trip this week. And I guess it'll be ready next week, not next week. I'm sometime this month when it's
finally open to the direction you're driving. Will you give it an up?
Yes, I will give it an up. And I'm giving it down, big down, because I asked all of you very nicely, if you see me coming, get out of my way, and y'all didn't. I'm very disappointed in some of you drivers out there on I-40 between the hours of 1:30 and 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. You let me down. You slowed me down, and I don't like that. When we come back, we've got more stuff to get into. Keith Smith at 12:30 on the NBA. So don't go anywhere, right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Mahomes retreats, steps up into the pocket, he throws it late for the end zone. Kelsey wide open, touchdown!
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Fires it to Edelman, who dropped down, intercepted off of Edelman and picked by the Honey Badger. Pick six!
Are back. Saturday, August 14th, the Chiefs kick off the preseason against the 49ers in San Francisco. Catch all the action here on your home for Kansas City Chiefs football.
Only on ESPN 95.3.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and B.F. Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and B.F. Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Hi, I'm Darren Dahl, Miss Arkansas 2019 and 2020. For me, the choice to get vaccinated was incredibly easy. I wanted the opportunity to get back to the normal that we were all used to and start to go outside in public and feel a little bit better about everything again. You can protect somebody's grandmother, somebody's parents. You're protecting your community by being vaccinated yourself. I encourage all Arkansans to go out and get their COVID-19 vaccine.
Save lives. Get your vaccination. Learn more at healthy.arkansas.gov. This message brought to you by the Arkansas Department of Health.
Riley Farm Dental at the entrance to Riley Farms provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. From general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics, Dr. Bo Sparkman and Dr. Brogan give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confidence, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Pretend you're holding Hardee's new hand-breaded chicken biscuit.
Big breakfast.
Your fingers squeeze the fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit.
Me likey.
You take a bite and taste the crispy, hand-breaded chicken.
Crunch, crunch.
That's been dusted in flour and bathed in buttermilk.
Hot hand-breading action.
You hungry yet?
Literally starving.
Get your hands on the new hand-breaded chicken biscuit from Hardee's.
Feed your happy. Available during regular breakfast hours only at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price of participation may vary.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco for hard work and the great outdoors.
It's midsummer, and now is the perfect time for hiking, fishing, shooting, canoeing, kayaking, and enjoying the great outdoors. And Jelco Outdoors has all the great gear to help you make great memories this summer. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors, your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Have a safe summer from Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Needing your roof repaired? Ramos Roofing is a local company that has over 25 years of experience, specializing in your residential or commercial roofing needs in the Oklahoma area. Ramos Roofing, a company you can trust, offering discounts to senior citizens, law enforcement, or healthcare workers, and assists in your insurance claims. Ramos Roofing, standing behind their work so you can stand under it. Call 479-420-9903. That's 420-9903. Ramos Roofing, working with you to build a better home.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is growing and looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building experience or you have welding skills, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay, health, dental, and vision benefits. Join the top fence building team in the state. The Fence Man. Apply today in person. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
My friend named Jack, he's got my back. He always seems to know right where I'm at. My friend Jose, he likes to play. He's always up for anything I say. A little bit of red, a lot of bit of crown. Don't matter what it is.
Springer down the lane, blocked by Vanover. Picked up by Note. 2 seconds, 1 second. Note to the other end, a layup, good. They count the basket. They counted the basket on the drive by Note.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett. Want to jump in the conversation with the guys? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963.
Welcome back into Halftime. Got about another 35 minutes with us here across the Natural State on ESPN Arkansas and hit anywhere, not just in the Natural State, not just in the country, but in the world and worlds beyond on hitthatline.com. Going to get into a little MLB here next before talking to Keith Smith at 12:30.
If you've always wanted a powered automatic gate at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man does it all. Custom rod iron installation, automatic gates, controlled access systems, camera and security installations, and lots more. Ask about 18-month same as cash financing. For your custom fence and gate needs, call the Fence Man. 479-782-3939. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Zach and Paragold asked earlier in the show about what's up with Kumar Rocker, and I told him that we were going to get into it an hour or two, so we're going to get into it right here on the program. Might talk about it, more MLB stuff to end the show. Also got to get back to that Odell Beckham Jr. story. So, Maddie, don't forget your opinions on that. But obviously, big news from around the SEC and college baseball, around Major League Baseball, as the New York Mets were not able to sign their first round draft pick, Kumar Rocker, the 10th round pick, before the 4 p.m. deadline yesterday. So the Mets will be compensated with the 11th pick in the MLB draft next year. They also have a lot more money to do with some other things, because it was expected that Kumar Rocker was going to be signing a $6 million deal, even after falling all the way down to number 10, when a lot of people had him in the top 5 at the highest on their draft board. So what's going on is Kumar Rocker and other highly touted prospects in the Major League draft do not have to take part in the physical screenings before the draft, that it's then on the teams to individually do them once they decide to draft them. And apparently, depending on who you ask, there's been some problems from an MRI on both his shoulder and his elbow. The main reason why most people believe that the Mets were unable to come to an agreement. Now, if you ask the Kumar Rocker camp, his agent, Scott Boras, release yesterday about his client and his health. He says Kumar Rocker is healthy according to an independent medical review by multiple prominent baseball orthopedic surgeons. Immediately upon conclusion of his collegiate season, he had an MRI in both his shoulder and elbow. When compared with his 2018 MRIs, the medical experts found no significant change. Kumar requires no medical attention and will continue to pitch in the regular course as he prepares to begin his professional career. Now, obviously, the end of there is one of the big headlines there as his professional career, which means he will not return to Vanderbilt to pitch for the Commodores next season. Seems like he will be ending up, according to Jeff Passons, in the Independence League, which does not make any sense. I'm sure we'll get into this a whole lot more throughout the week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. NBA talk with Keith Smith on the other side of the break right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it. Sammy Hagar hammered out this classic hard rock tune, There's Only One Way to Rock. The Bible hammers out this hard rock truth, There's only one way to God. And this world can disagree. They don't understand how this must be. And it's not my point of view, it's a fact, and you know that it's true. There's only no way that Jesus and His disciples would willingly die for what they knew to be a lie. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it. Sammy Hagar hammered out this classic hard rock tune, There's Only One Way to Rock. The Bible hammers out this hard rock truth, There's only one way to God. And this world can disagree. They don't understand how this must be. And it's
Local roofing contractors, Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! Yeah, now let me see that booty work, 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 booty work. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now let me see that booty work, booty work, booty work, booty work. Left cheek, right cheek, left cheek. Show up, show up, show up, show up, boom. Show up, show up, show up, boom. False. Black car.
Deja Williams with a head fake, works her way into the paint, pull-up jumper stripped out of her hands by Aaron Barnum. Barnum driving all the way, leaves it out for Slocum, fakes the three, swings it for Ramirez, way out left side, three's on the way by Ramirez, another one, 11, Ramirez has 14.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Follow the guys on Twitter at PhilElsonPXP, at Matt Travis, and at DBarrett36. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
Welcome back to Halftime on HitThatLine.com and all the great stations in the natural state here on ESP in Arkansas. About to be joined by Keith Smith. You can follow him on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Contributed to Spot Rack, Celtic blog, Spotify Green Room, Front Office Show, and always find everything of his work on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, how you doing? And how is free agency news and everything treating you so far in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's right now it's kind of the calm before the storm. Everybody's just getting geared up and ready to go. It's going to be a crazy week starting tonight at 6 p.m.
Yeah, it will be crazy, and we've already seen some big numbers declined. Obviously, Chris Paul's $44 million. Kawhi, I think, is at $38 million, if I'm not mistaken. What are their plans going forward? Are they declining to just re-sign and restructure, or do you think that they're going to be kind of shopping around?
Yeah, for Chris Paul, his situation's a little different. He's obviously a much older player, so he's limited in what he can do as far as signing a new contract and the like on length. So what he's doing is he's opting out of that big number, that $44 million, and that's going to get knocked down to probably somewhere in the 30 to 33 million range starting today, and then that'll be the number this year, and then moving forward. So he's going to add more money long term at the sacrifice of the most amount of money he could have this year, and everybody expects he's going to stay right there in Phoenix with the Suns. And then Kawhi Leonard, his situation is a little different. Anybody who tells you they know what Kawhi Leonard is doing, then that means that that's Kawhi Leonard telling you that, because there's just no sense at all. He's the least predictable player that there is in the entire league. He doesn't talk to anybody. He stays pretty silent on almost all issues. But what we do know is he's opted out. It's been reported that he's willing to take some meetings and talk through things, but it sounds like, again, he is somebody who's going to stick right where he is in L.A., with the Clippers, and then we'll kind of start free agency after those two are off the board.
Yeah, I was reading some of your stuff earlier today, and you've got the opinion that it's mostly going to be a mild free agency. That most, if I remember right, you basically believe that most of these stuffs are pretty close to being done, if not done already, just haven't officially been announced. And it's going to be a lot of role players that are going to be mixed up in the free agency. Who are some of the guys that you think will choose free agency and then make a big impact at some other place?
Yeah, we know Kyle Lowry looks like he's going to be gone from the Toronto Raptors. He's probably the biggest name that will definitely change teams this offseason. DeMar DeRozan in the San Antonio Spurs, we'll see what happens there. He's kind of a throwback player at this point with the way his game works, so we'll see who goes with him. And then other guys that are probably going to be moving along, Spencer Dinwiddie of the Nets, Lonzo Ball of the Pelicans. Evan Fournier, we'll see if, the Celtics can retain him or not. And then after that, you're really kind of getting into the deeper role players. This class is very short on star talent at the top, but it is very good in role players all the way through. So several of these contending teams or teams that view themselves as, hey, we could be the next Suns or the next Bucks, they can really rebuild their benches quite a bit through free agency. But I do think there's a chance you could see a handful of teams kind of gear up and try to go for it on the trade market as well.
Yeah, and not really the local team here, but the local, especially to me, Keith, the Grizzlies announced yesterday, or Shams at least reported yesterday where I saw it, is declined the Justice Winslow $13 million team option for next season. Is Justice Winslow's time and very short time in the short experiment over for him in a Grizzlies uniform?
Yeah, it sounds like it is. It sounds like that one is likely done. They're going to have to renounce him as well to complete that trade that they have already agreed to with the New Orleans Pelicans. That'll be one of the things that'll go official on Friday, most likely when the moratorium lifts and the league year is fully underway. That's the expectation. We'll see that then. So, yeah, that's likely that Winslow then will move on and try to get somewhere else, see if he can get back some of that value that he had when he was a younger player that everybody kind of liked with the Miami Heat, because it just never really worked out with him with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, it didn't. Just couldn't stay healthy, and when he was healthy, just never seemed to really mesh well with the Grizzlies. You brought up the trade with New Orleans. Who do you think won that trade? Did New Orleans get better with Giannis Valanciunas, who is a double-double machine just night in and night out, or did the Grizzlies get better adding a Steven Adams, which reports from a lot of people telling me to calm down about losing JV, that Steven Adams can do the exact same thing?
Yeah, part of what we have to judge is what the Pelicans do with their new flexibility. This trade was partially about acquiring Jonas Valanciunas, but also partially about trying to create a lot more flexibility for themselves moving forward so they get off a couple of bigger contracts in Adams and Bledsoe. So we'll see, how that comes together for them here, whether they make, big moves this summer as in free agency or whether it's through trade or that's something that just takes place over the next year or so. On the Memphis side, it's tough to give up Valanciunas. I fully understand that. But I think as their young players take on more responsibility offensively and you get Jaren Jackson Jr. back to full health, I think that will offset what you lost offensively. I think Adams and Valanciunas are probably pretty equal in terms of defense. But Adams is a better screener. He's a better offensive rebounder. And then we'll see, what ultimately happens with Eric Bledsoe. Do they move him along in another trade somewhere else? Or, how does that come together? But, then a lot of their part of this trade will get judged on Zaire Williams and what he becomes after they drafted him with the 10th pick.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into the mold of the Grizzlies. Obviously, we know what Ja Morant is, a budding superstar in this league, but I feel like nobody else really has cemented a firm spot as a Grizzlies going forward. I think Dylan Brooks has shown flashes, but also can't stay out of foul trouble. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great young player when he's healthy, and also staying out of foul trouble. So it's going to be interesting to see where he fits. And before we get into the draft last week, because I do have a lot of questions I want to ask about some guys. I know a local hero, born and raised in Little Rock, went to the University of Arkansas and has become a Milwaukee legend over the past few months. Bobby Portis, he declined his option of 3.8. How much do you think he's going to get, and where do you think he ends up?
Yeah, his situation is really interesting because the Bucks are limited in what they can pay him because he was only there 1 year. So they don't have any of the free agent rights that allow them to exceed the salary cap by a large margin or anything like that. So they're pretty much limited to paying him about $5.9 million or so. So that's the question that Bobby Portis has to kind of answer for himself is, do I want to stay here in Milwaukee where it really became a fan favorite? I was kind of a playoff hero for this team and stay here for $5.9 million, or can he cash in with another team for maybe a little bit more money, one of these cap space teams, things like that. So that's going to be what he's going to be deciding on. Here, there's growing belief that he's just going to stay with the Bucks for at least one more year, probably do another 1+1 deal. Then they'll have enough rights for him to be able to offer him a bigger contract next summer. And it sounds like that's something he's at least, somewhat interested in running it back there as part of the championship team.
Yeah, it does sound like. I mean, if you listen to him in any press conference or any interview, he talks about how much he identifies with Milwaukee, it being a blue-collar type of town, and he's a blue-collar type of player. And I think he loves it. The fans love him. I think it'd be a perfect fit for him to stay in Milwaukee. But for the draft last week, top three pretty set in stone, went exactly the way I think most people thought it was going to go. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, then Evan Mobley. First big surprise was Scotty Barnes going over Jalen Suggs. Was that shocking to you? Did you think Jalen should have been or was the fourth best overall player?
Yeah, that was very surprising. That was kind of the first curveball. And we knew that Scotty Barnes was moving up the draft boards. He started kind of the draft process in maybe the 10 to 12 range, and it was clear that he was going to go top 5 as we entered the draft. In Toronto, picking him at 4, where everybody had kind of locked in Jalen Suggs, was, like I said, that first legitimate curveball. But I think this one is one where the Raptors prioritize fit and defense and guys who really just get after it on that end of the floor, or great communicators and those kind of things. So I think that's really good for them. And then the Orlando Magic could not be happier. That's where I live. I'm in Orlando. They could not be more thrilled to have Jalen Suggs. They felt like they were really kind of locked in on Scotty Barnes as being their guy. And when Suggs fell, they were ecstatic in the room. Not that they didn't like Barnes, but they really wanted Suggs if they had a shot, and they considered trading up and those kind of things, but stuck where they were. And he's going to give them a dynamic as a scorer, creator, that they just don't necessarily have on this team right now, as Markelle Fultz works his way back from injury, and a lot of their other players are a little bit more defensive-minded. So they could not be happier to have landed Jalen Suggs.
And we're talking with Keith Smith. You can follow him on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, I guess the closest local team to here in the River Valley would be the OKC Thunder. They obviously had 2 first-round draft picks in Trey Mann and Josh Giddey from Australia. How would you grade what OKC did Thursday night?
Yeah, on the 2 guys that they picked, starting with Josh Giddey, it was maybe a little earlier, but it's not by a massive amount. He was expected to go somewhere maybe the 8 to 12 range, so taking him at 6 is not, that's not a huge overreach. He gives them a big, playmaker on the wing. I'm not sold. Some people have said he's going to be a point guard, and I'm not sold that that's going to be the case in the NBA. But I do think he's we're seeing this new version in the league of ball handling playmakers that have range between 6'7" and 6'9", and that's what I think Giddey has a chance to be. Trey Mann's a little bit more of a traditional point guard, also maybe a little bit of a combo guard there. So we'll see. Kind of starting to get to be a little bit of a crowded point. What I did not like was them trading out of the 16th pick to then pick up an additional other first-round pick. I think they've hit the tipping point on adding extra first-round picks. You hit a point where enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I think Alperen Şengün, who went with that pick, would have been a phenomenal fit for them as an offensive-minded big man who's drawn some comparison to Nikola Jokic in the way he plays.
Yeah, Keith, just a few more before we unfortunately have to let you go. Everybody's going to want me to ask this. Moses Moody from the University of Arkansas. I felt dropped a bit in the draft. I thought he would go somewhere around 8 to 12 in the draft. He ultimately goes 14th overall to the Golden State Warriors. How good of a fit do you think he'll be out there with Steph Curry and company?
Yeah, I think he's, he landed in a pretty good spot from the standpoint of he's not going to have any pressure on him to perform right away. I think he's going to be able to, really kind of learn the NBA game, right out of the gate. They seem to really be excited to have him. They also drafted Jonathan Kuminga with their earlier first-round pick. Those are 2 guys that I think once they show they're ready, there's rotation roles to be had in Golden State. They've of course got the very deep and top heavy starting group, but behind those guys, it's a lot of guys who are a little less known. So I think they're excited with the idea of, hey, bring these guys in and let's get them going.
Mm-hmm. Keith, last thing, big news from trade-wise around the draft last Thursday. I think it might have been starting report late Wednesday night. But Russell Westbrook heading to La La Land to play with LeBron James and the Lakers. How much better does that make the Lakers? How much more of a contender? And am I wrong to think that the best of Westbrook is behind him?
Yeah, I don't know that you're wrong on that. At his age, the fact that he doesn't really play back-to-back games anymore, he tends to miss some time. Now, that's probably fair. Now, he can still bring it. So I think that is something that we tend to focus so much on what guys can't do that sometimes we miss what they can do. And he's one of the best transition guys in the league. He really was able to push the ball and do his thing there. The fit's just weird with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's not a good shooter. You can see that causing problems late in games. I've been saying they're going to be fine in the regular season because probably one of those three guys is going to miss a game, here and there. So you're going to end up with at least two of them on the floor at all times. That'll be fine. So when you get into the postseason and have to really kind of lock in and find stuff, that's where it could get a little bit messy trying to play all three of them a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out, and we'll be sure to call you when we need to know exactly how it's going to work out. We'll have to get you back on when we get close to the season. Keith, thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day, all right?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Keith. That's Keith Smith from on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA, contributor to Spot Rack, Celtics blog, Spotify Green Room, and the Front Office Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're going to get into a little bit more MLB news. Going to get back into that OBJ conversation that I told Maddie to hold his opinion, and hopefully he will be able to bring it in. If you've got an opinion on anything we talked about or want us to touch on something in our last segment, don't be afraid to text us or call us at 877-377-6963. Drew Barrett, Matty T, Phil Elson out today. We'll be right back on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
What matters most to your family can now cost less when you choose comfortable, reliable, and efficient natural gas heating, water heating, cooking, and clothes drying for your home. You make the right choice in today's environment. High-efficiency natural gas appliances can reduce your monthly costs. And right now, you can save even more with heating and water heating rebates from AOG. Visit AOGC.com today and get more comfort for less cost.
Attention, attention, do you have a fifth wheel, travel trailer, or motorhome that you don't get to use as often as you want? Well, Breeden RV has a solution. Breeden RV wants to buy your RV. Due to the historic events that have happened over the past year, RVs are in high demand, and Breeden RV will pay you top dollar for yours. So push it, pull it, or drag it to Breeden RV in Van Buren today for your free appraisal and get cash in hand within an hour. Call Breeden RV at 479-262-2418 or visit them on the web at breedenrvs.com.
Family first. My dad used to tell us that all the time. But family first wasn't just something he'd say to us. It was how he lived every day of his life. And it's how I try to live mine too.
At Shelter Insurance, our agents are dedicated to helping provide personalized auto, home, and life protection that puts your family first.
Ask Shelter agents Randy Milam or Brad Howe about a free insurance review.
Do you want to work for a trucking company with state-of-the-art technology? A trucking company that will give you the tools to do your job and make a great living and come home safe? Of course you do. That company you want to work for is Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry. Brent and Connie Higgins genuinely care about your future and your family. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them today at 479-997-2366 or apply online at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
NWA Gold and Silver has moved to a new location in Fort Smith at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express. NWA Gold and Silver is always buying gold and silver, scrap, bullion, and coins. Plus, NWA Gold and Silver buys and sells jewelry of all kinds. Diamond rings, wedding bands, engagement rings, earrings, and more. Bring in your gold or silver today to the people that pay the most and have the best deals. NWA Gold and Silver in their new location at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express in Fort Smith.
For more than 80 years, Forest Grin Inc. has been building the foundations of the River Valley and beyond. Forest Grin, a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence, is now hiring experienced concrete finishers and heavy equipment operators. Apply now from any mobile device at forestgrininc.com. Forest Grin is a heritage company and a premier employer. Don't miss this opportunity to become part of the Forest Grin legacy. Apply now from any device anywhere at forestgrininc.com. Forest Grin Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Would printing from your phone or tablet make your life easier? Are you emailing files to yourself so that you can print them from your desktop or laptop? The Xerox VersaLink and AltaLink lines of network printers and multifunction printers will natively print using your phone's built-in capabilities. Apple AirPrint and Google Cloud Printing just work. To order yours today, give us a call at 783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Whether it's a game day, a holiday, office function, or your family lunch or dinner, Whole Hog Cafe Fort Smith is ready to serve you their award-winning barbecue and sides. Dine in or call either of the Whole Hog Fort Smith locations, Burrow Road or Phoenix Avenue, or go online to wholehogfortsmith.com and check out their buddy packs and party packs. Both Whole Hog locations are currently open 11 till 6, Tuesday through Saturday. Experience award-winning barbecue and sides at Whole Hog Cafe today.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
I had one say we were done in a back.
Now he's going to heave it downfield. He's got Burks at the 20, complete. Traylon inside the 10. Burks is at the goal line. Touchdown, Arkansas! Traylon Burks, 59 yards and a touchdown.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett. The Morning Rush, Halftime, Ruskin and Zach, Fantasy Football Sunday, and Primetime Preps. All available on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Just type Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Our podcasts are on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, HitThatLine.com, Anchor, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Google Play.
Welcome back to Halftime, last segment of Hour 2 and of the show today. I know, quite sad, but don't worry, don't fret. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 to 1. Drew Barrett, Matty T here with you, keeping you company for a few more minutes on this lovely Monday afternoon across the natural state. So I teased it a bit and back in Hour 1, and I want to get Matty T's opinion because Matty T is a guy whose opinion I trust. And I want to know exactly what he feels about Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, spending $1.8 million on new teeth, and then decides to flex on everyone, as the article would put it, by putting diamonds in the back of his mouth. So, one, you're spending money to put diamonds in your mouth. I get it, grills, you know.
Those are his chewing diamonds.
Exactly. You're putting them where you're chewing. I mean, aren't you afraid that
meanwhile, there's children.
How hard are diamonds are really hard. Like I know
yeah,
that,
they're
but like so are teeth are supposed to be pretty hard too. And people crack teeth all the time.
There's children all over this country that don't have food to eat in the evening time. But this guy's got enough money to put diamonds in his teeth.
Well, let's not blame him for world hunger, Matty. I mean, come on. Let's not go that far.
But I'm not blaming him for world hunger, but there's not anything more productive you could have done
for
with $1.8 million. Are you just trying to tell the entire world to go screw itself with that kind of gesture?
A little bit. I mean, and the guy that he went to, Dr. Thomas Cronelli.
I'm going to guess this is like a world-famous put diamond in teeth guy.
Well, he's done veneers and basically made people look very good smiling for many years. He's done mouths of Post Malone and Chris Brown and other celebrities, according to the article. Now the veneers themselves, I'm sure the new teeth in themselves, taking all of your original teeth and then putting the new ones back in your face.
The pearly whites.
That probably was the more expensive of the two. It's just the flashiness of the diamonds. Like if you're gonna do like a diamond or like a gold tooth, if you're gonna spend money on it, why not at least do it to where people see it? Like, isn't that the whole deal of having that clout of that? Yeah, I got so much money, I don't know what to do with. I put diamonds in my teeth. It's not just having them on my ears and around my neck. It's in my teeth, and I get it. I mean that's a status thing. That's a clout thing. But wouldn't you want people to see it?
Yeah, that's the whole point, right?
That should be the point. That's
really
why
I say unless you just have the attitude of like, I'm so rich, I've got so much money that I'm just gonna put it in my mouth and nobody's even gonna know it's there.
Like it's not even like.
Or is he just stupid?
Well, see, looking at the pictures here from TMZ Sports, the diamonds, they aren't teeth shaped. They are diamond shaped. They are shaped like they came out of an engagement ring. They are round. It's a round shaped of a teeth. So here, I'll turn my computer around so you can kind of see that. Do you see that? Like it looks like a round diamond.
Okay, now that I see that, you got to be smiling really big.
You do,
but you can see it if you're really smiling.
Yeah, but
if you're just grinning, if you're grinning from ear to ear,
yeah,
it's gonna be a little reflection of
which.
light.
If I had $1.8 million, honestly, one of the first few things I would do is get new teeth. If I
had $1.8
dental
million,
issue isn't where I would like to be. That's why I try not to smile too much when I'm on camera. It's not my fault. It's genetics. It runs in my family. Our calcium and doesn't build up properly, and we have weak teeth. It's something that a lot of people in my family have had to deal with. So that would be the first. Like when people ask, "What would you do if you won the lottery?" My first answer has always been, "I'm buying new teeth," because it's one of those things that a lot of people are kind of embarrassed about, and I know I certainly am one. I'm a little sensitive about it. So I get it. If I had the money, I'd buy new teeth too. But
with or without diamonds?
Without diamonds. I can't pull off diamonds.
I'd probably move out of
If I can't pull off earrings, I don't know if I could pull off diamonds.
You could pull off earrings.
Well.
Big dangly ones.
I guess we'll never know. Big show planned for you tomorrow. Rob Fisher, Alex Kuhn, and Pat Smith from Jackson, Birmingham tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Roofing repairs or maybe more? Construction Master Roofing, who has been under new management since 2019 with over 25 years of experience, is who you need to call. Estimates are free, and military, first responders, and medical workers receive 5% off. Construction Master Roofing guarantees